Hello, beautiful friends. I'm super excited to be here with you today once again, and today with a very, very, very special guest, dear friend, someone I really look up to, and someone I go to for great ancient knowledge, Alex Atterman. So Alex is here with us. She will be presenting. I'll put her on the screen so that everybody can see her pinned up. But I just want to say, I met Alex about 10 years ago at a Living Life Expo in LA. And I was just so fascinated with her energy. And you know how it goes, our magnetism brings us together. And so ever since then, I have been working with Alex as well. And just learning so much. But at the same time, Sri Kaleshwar came to visit me twice, 3 times maybe by now. And so Alex will be presenting about her amazing life with the Swami and just with Divine Mother. And she really has all that embodied in her, the multi-dimensional mystery. And Alex also has a healing practice. She's a miracle healer. And of course, she'll speak about that. But to me, it's amazing when someone embodies the miracles and got to see the miracles. So I'll stop the share here so that we can see Alex, and we pin you here so that everybody can see you, sweetheart. And
hello, everybody.
Present.
So good to be here. Really quite an honor to be here with you all today. So I'm in Los Angeles, California. And as I think many people know, I spent many years living in South India in Penukonda under the guidance and direct training for many years, actually, of Sri Kaleshwar. I met him in 1999, which I will talk about a little bit. And, you know, like many people, I think I had been a seeker and a healer and all kinds of things to that point, but unclear of precision and unclear about a strong direction for where is all that leading and where are the tools that have the depth of the knowledge behind them that are not addressing superficial things or that are not comprised of wishful thinking in the healing modalities. Anyway, so my good karma, my good fortune led me to Sri Kaleshwar. And I met him in 99. I first went to India in the winter of 1999 for a Christmas program in Penukonda. Yes, Christmas in South India. Very interesting. And then I went back again in the summer of 2000 for about a month again. And at that point, my then partner and I, or Jonathan Rosen, who I'll also talk about at length, we both had the feeling like, no, we need to go very deeply into this. And so we moved to Penukonda from the US in around the end of 2000 and stayed there pretty much continually through, I think it was March or April of 2005. So had anyone told me that would be a 5-year training program, I would have flipped out. I don't think I would have committed to it. As it was, we thought, well, maybe 6 months, a year, we'll see where this goes. And it actually went into 5 years. So from that point on, and that was living on his ashram, training with him and so on. I'll show you a beautiful slideshow with all of that kind of photos of these places, so you have some feeling about what I'm talking about. And then he sent us out in 2005 to teach and heal and spread the knowledge that we had gotten over those years. Very, very intense, very rigorous, no nonsense training. And so we began doing that and going back and forth to India, taking our students there to do programs with him. He did come to the US during those years and also to Europe. Especially Germany. He went many, many, many times to Germany, but also UK, different places and different places in the US. So our students then they became his students, obviously. They weren't ever our students in any possessive sense of that as well. So one could rightly say I was trained by Kaleshwar physically from the time I met him in 1999 until he took his Mahasamadhi, his conscious exit from the body in 2012. And that he continues to this day, obviously. to teach me all kinds of things. And not only that, but the whole lineage of gurus and holy souls and siddhas that he is linked with and represents. So that's a little bit of overview. And I think I'll just go straight to the slideshow. Yeah, is that?
Sounds great. Thank you.
I think so. And also someone mentioned what's behind me. It's not a painting. This is a photograph from Penukonda. There is the 9-foot statue of Mother Divine there that he put toward the end of his life. And this is, doorway is to the inner building where actually Sri Kaleshwar's samadhi, his tomb, his body is buried in there. So it's a pretty big jolt of the energy, I think, from him, from the mother, and from Penukonda. So, yeah. I'm going to share it like this to start, and then we'll go full screen. And I'm pretty sure, oh yeah, I can still see chat conversations there as well. Fabulous. I don't know if I'll be able to once I go full screen. Oh yes, I can. Excellent. Oh, that's great. And happy birthday. Somebody's having a birthday. That's so lovely. Lithuania. Wow. Great. Gorgeous. Wow. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the comments. They're so beautiful. Oh, the Lee McCloskey painting in the still photo. Right. Sorry, I thought someone was referring to what was behind me. I just saw the thing go by. Okay, so here we are. Secret nature of Mother's nature. Power of the divine feminine, her miracles, and you. And I have to say, I went back over my slideshow. I made this many years ago, but I kind of tailored it for this group and brought it a little bit up to date. And we'll probably exceed the time that we are supposed to spend here today. So I hope that's okay. It's so much to cram into a short period of time. And anyway, thank God you're recording this, Adi, so it will remain for people who maybe have to leave after a certain point or what have you.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that generosity.
Oh, of course. Are you kidding? The thing is, I'm a detail person, so I hate to just gloss over things. I mean, of necessity, I will, but I like to get down into the, particulars, and at least to have some opportunity for a few things. I think they warrant going a bit more deeply into it. So, so of course, our big subject is Mother Divine. In the Vedic tradition of India, I'm sure everybody has a working understanding that they represent her in a rather fierce form, usually riding some kind of big cat, a tiger or a lion, multiple arms, and the arms all have weapons in them. It's a really interesting commentary on our planet that even God in her highest form needs weapons. What is she doing with all those weapons? She's destroying negativity. They also represent all the categories of siddhi, or supernatural ability, which we'll be talking a bit about today. So I would like to start with the 3 opening prayers that we always do in this tradition: the Guru Mantra, the Ganesh Mantra, and the Gayatri. Just to bring in all of the energy of these phenomenal beings and remind us all who is giving this talk. It's certainly not me. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Shuklam Bharataram Vishnum Sashivaranam Chaturbhujam Prasannavaranam Dhyaye Sarvavigno Pashantaye Gajanana Padmarkam Gajanana Maharanisham Anekadantadam Bhaktanam Yekadantam Upasamahe Yekadantam Upasamahe. Om Pura Bhuva Suvaha Tasavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Naha Prachodayat. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I know there are many time zones represented here. It's a total honor to be with you all. And thank you so much for having me and for wanting to hear about the angle of Mother that I understand through the grace of Sri Kaleshwar and the lineage of holy souls, the Guru Parampara that he represents and embodies. So first question, of course, who is Mother Divine? Who is this divine feminine that we talk about? According to the Vedic tradition, and this is all coming straight from Swami Kaleshwar and his understanding of her, she is the Shakti. Shakti means the force, power, the feminine principle of how this world is created. That is the mother. She is that. Generically, they call her Shakti in Sanskrit. Shakti is just means that power, force. She has many names from all traditions worldwide. Everybody has something about the mother, whether it's, Isis or Kali or Mother Mary or this one or that one. It really doesn't matter. Mother is mother, right, to the whole creation. She is nature. All of nature, totality of the manifest creation. That is also the mother. One of the things that really struck me when Swami Kaleshwar really started talking deeply about her nature in 2000 was that he was differentiating her qualities as 50% she is a huge loving mother who will absolutely drop everything to come to her children when they call. She will drop everything. You pray to the mother for relief, she will come, right? I think many people have that experience. You pray for her blessing, she'll give it to you. However, her 50% of her other side of her nature is pure Mahamaya. Mahamaya means the giant illusion, the whole illusion of this creation, the smoke and mirrors of the solidity of our world, the whole, that which is not quality called Maya, right? I think everyone is aware that this world is temporary at best. All the forms that we see, whether it's a blade of grass or a human life or an ocean or an empire, temporary. They come and go, right? They rise and fall. By the eternal reckoning, none of it is permanent. And by that definition, it is illusion. It's all Maya. So mother's very tricky because, like, as nature, nature can be very beautiful, right? You can see beautiful waterfalls and gorgeous sunsets and gentle breezes and all like that. But she can also be tsunamis and earthquakes and floods and fires. She is all of the totality of that nature, which means all of that Mahamaya. And when we see the lives of holy people in particular, like they have to deal with Mahamaya. It means they have to deal with her illusion side. And majority of holy people kind of fall down on that, to be honest. They don't know how to handle her. And so they get taken down by her. You see many spiritual leaders get taken down by scandals, right? Sex scandals or money scandals or corruption of this or that, whatever. Yeah, she's playing them. She's playing a big game. Her reflection back through nature comes from that 50% side as Mahamaya. Swami Kaleshwar, perfectly adept at handling both her beautiful, loving, truthful side and her complete illusion side. He's a bit rare in that respect, I think. As nature, she is the mirror of creation. She's only showing us in the mirror whatever reflection we merit, right? As individuals, as a collective humanity, and so on, to each of us, and through the mechanism of karma. Karma, action to reaction. That is her mirrorism to all of us. So, you do unfortunate things, you do great things, right? And all of that goes on the balance sheet of what face the mother is showing each of us at any given time. She is also the keeper of the miracle energy. And every enlightened soul has to go through her to receive her creation ability. When we see saints, again, regardless of tradition, it doesn't matter if they're coming out of the Indian tradition, if they're coming out of Sufi, if they're Kabbalah, if they're Christian mystics, if they just woke up spontaneously and they have miraculous abilities, they have to, at some point, have had to reckon with her in form to get her blessing to unlock the miracles. So that means whether we're talking about St. Francis of Assisi or Teresa of Avila, or we're talking about Jesus Christ, or we're talking about the Buddha, or any of the great saints that we can name, Krishna, Babaji, etc., if they can demonstrate miracles, outright manifestations of changing the physical form, the physical illusion of this world, let's say from one thing to another, like water to wine, or raising the dead, or any of the things that we know great holy souls are capable of, they had to go through the mother. They had to reckon with her. They had to negotiate with her for those abilities. There is only one doorway to all of that, and that is she. There's no other way. Her 8 arms, her 8 weapons. They are the 8 categories of siddhi, or supernatural abilities. So this is my particular lineage. I think in a way it's safe to say this is a lineage of gurus for humanity. But these are the kind of the top characters and the good friends of Swami Kaleshwar. From, I think you can probably see the little pointer cursor here. So from here, it's Jesus, of course, one of the greatest exponents of the miracle energy out of India in our entire human history. This is Shirdi Sai Baba, the master of Swami Kaleshwar. We'll talk more about him in a moment. Another great miracle healing saint, for those who aren't aware of him. He died in 1918. He was in his 80s. So through most of the 1800s, Shirdi Baba was functioning as a tremendous force on the planet, commanding the miracles. Lord Buddha, of course. Mahavatar Babaji, of course. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, the great saint of the 1800s who died in the 1890s and was one of the only spiritual masters who was completely blunt and open about his relationship with the mother as Mahakali in her most peak fierce form of the feminine power in our world. And Ramana Maharshi also, who died, I think, in the 1960s. So these are like our soul brothers in this tradition. And Swami Kaleshwar is kind of like in union and fueled and supported by all of them. Whereas Shirdi Baba is his direct master, so is Jesus. It's a very interesting relationship he has. So to recap on the mother, she is the keeper of the miracle energy. Every enlightened soul will go through her to receive her creation ability and the siddhis, the supernatural power channels, the abilities. And Shakti, again, to redefine it, or to be clear, it means power. It also equals siddhis, or supernatural abilities. So when we talk about miracles, what are we talking about? We're talking about the Shakti in motion, as it's, okay, the whole creation is made of the force, right? The whole creation is a web of mother's illusion and mother's energy with Shiva, also God the Father energy, and they're entangled, entwined, inseparable quality as divine creation energy, one could say. However, in our world of 3 dimensions and of 5 element bodies walking around with souls in them and having experiences of all the darkest that we can experience in this world and all of the lightest, the miracles are literally the energy in motion, creating some result that is tangible, palpable, and that generally defies what we've been told is possible, according to physics and other natural laws. And I will give some examples, because Swami Kaleshwar, his reputation was as a miracle healer. That was his stock in trade. That was his calling card. That's what he did. One level. Another level, he did in-your-face, unbelievable divine miracles, such as what we're going to look at right now. But first, so a young man will come at the turn of this millennium with a special relationship to Mother Divine. He will live by the holy mountain in Penukonda. The Mother, Adi Shakti Parashakti, will receive his worship and answer his prayers. He will be an incarnation of love who will bring her energy to the world. He will come to take care of the planet and bring extraordinary knowledge and light. To see him once will be a blessing for a person's whole lifetime. Thank God for YouTube. If you have faith in him, you will automatically receive the Shakti from him. He will spread the supernatural power channels to every soul who is interested, and will bring Jivan Mukti, that is the ultimate liberation of a soul. You don't have to come back any more lifetimes, anything like that, to the world. This is from a saint in the 1600s called Veera Brahmendra, who was called the Nostradamus of India. Indeed, he had the same kind of abilities. He could see the future, and he wrote ancient manuscripts on dried palm leaves at that time, predicting the future of the planet. The Indian government has his book, the Kaleshwar, the knowledge of how time operates, in their possession. And they were kind enough to give this a photocopy of this page that clearly is talking about Swami Kaleshwar, or as predicted by Veera Brahmendra in the 1600s. Yeah. My deeper aim is to send everyone to Mother. She will take care of you and give you what you really want. So let's talk about the miracles. This was 1997. So when Swami Kaleshwar first came to the United States, he was 24 years old. He was terribly scrawny. He looked like a teenager. People were confused, like, where's the master? Because there was this like scrawny Indian teenager in the room, looking very ferocious and speaking hardly any English at all. But his command of the energy was unquestionable. So he came out swinging. He was 24 years old. He was demonstrating miracles at every turn, astounding things, and doing healings for terminal cancers in like 5 minutes, and treating people with HIV and removing their symptoms, and just extraordinary. So this was in Marin County in 1997, I believe. Might have been 98, but I don't think so. I think it was 97. And he wanted serious meditators and healers there. So there were about 40 people present, some of whom had chronic illnesses, terrible injuries with super horrible pain that was persistent. One guy had been a construction worker who'd fallen off a roof, broken his leg, and like a horrible compound fracture. It was all pinned together, with surgery, and it was really hurting him. Anyway, during the course of that day, Swami Kaleshwar had this rose in his hand, and he ignited it simply, as you can see, it's starting to catch fire. This is not being photoshopped or altered in any way. He shot a look at the photographer like, hey, catch this, a split second before the rose burst into flame in his hand. It did not burn him. It burnt down to ash. And then he took that ash and he put it on everyone's third eye and transferred the energy in what's called a Shakti pot, a transmission of the Shakti. By way of healing all these people who had been on the front lines doing serious meditation and healing, some of them, for decades by that point, and reaping the consequences of it, not having any kind of vehicle through which to decharge or dissolve all of the energy and the residue that they were taking on from people through facilitating healing. Many of them had really serious chronic situations going on. All of that eradicated that day. The guy with the chronic pain, gone. He went to India shortly thereafter to spend a month with Kaleshwar and ended up being there for 15 years. And one of Swami Kaleshwar's right-hand assistants and people. So when I talk about miracles, I don't mean like a nice synchronicity or a beautiful thing that happened to you or some kind of this or that or whatever. No, I'm talking literally in your face, transforming nature in a way that defies logic and physics. And the mind, honestly, when you witness something like that, the mind just shatters. Your mind is like, I can't believe I just saw that. While the soul internally is singing, because the soul knows this energy very well. We came from the same energy. We are miracle energy beings, you could say. But largely we've either forgotten it or we don't simply know how to be in line with that energy and how to use it ourselves. which is our birthright. So he came to demonstrate the miracles by way of helping the people wake up to the fact that they too could demonstrate miracles. This is my colleague Marie, who has written an extraordinary book about her experiences with Kaleshwar in those early years called A River of Fire. Her name is Marie Fontaine, if you look for the book. This was also, I think, in Marin around that same time. He had just done a fire homa, a ceremony. He liked to use the fire element quite a lot. And he was really playful. I mean, he was just ridiculous and mischievous. I don't think I've ever met anyone with as keen or sharp a sense of humor as Swami Kaleshwar. One second he could be tough as nails and deadly intense and serious, and the next second he's just cracking himself and everyone else up. So after that, he was pulling things out of the fire, like manifesting Shiva lingams and giving them to people and this and that. I mean, it was crazy. And then he pulled out a handful of ash, like this burning hot ash from the fire. And he's saying to people, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? Shout out your favorite color. And people are yelling red, blue, green, like this. And Marie, who's an artist, a painter, she hears in her head, say white. But she's like, but that's not my favorite color. I'm a painter. I like many colors. White is not my color. This insistent voice in her head kept saying, say white. So finally she's like, all right, white. He flipped around. He said, she said white. And out of his hand, the ash that he had taken from the fire began to manifest into a white mala. And he gave it to her. I didn't know her then. I met her later in India in 1999, and we were living there on his ashram together for some years. And I used to admire this beautiful white beaded mala that she had. It was extraordinary. And the energy was immaculate. And I didn't know the story about its origin until I read her book. And she says in the book that it was ashy, like it was rough hewn, the way the beads formed, until the next day when they became very smooth. And they look kind of pearl-like. They're not pearls, but they're very, very large, white, gorgeous beads. Yeah, so wow. Yes, this was a later miracle. This was in Penukonda. What we saw him do, the book is called River of Fire, to Grace, and her name is Marie Fontaine, Fontaine. She actually wrote 2 volumes, and they are miraculous. They're really beautiful. They're just gorgeous. So this bird, so this bird was dead for 3 days. In fact, his head was lopped off. It wasn't just dead. And by way of demonstrating the command over the soul to re-enter a form that has been completely destroyed and very clearly destroyed, right? So Swami had a group of students who he made them meditate from midnight until 5 a.m. I believe it was for about 4 or 5 months. It might have been longer. I wasn't in that group, so I wasn't privy to the ins and outs of their process, but they had to meditate there. He created a Jesus temple on his ashram, which I'll show you pictures of shortly, every night for many, many months, in order to build enough energy to their soul capacity to be able to participate and witness this miracle happening. And in fact, one of my colleagues was the person who decapitated the bird at Swami's request. So the bird laid it in its own blood for 3 days. And then in front of them, using the supernatural abilities, Swami Kaleshwar brought the bird back to life. Intact, whole, as you see. This is right after he had brought it back to life. The lightness in the sky is that dawn is coming. And then he blessed the bird's soul, and they released it to the trees, and the bird was fine. He did say that when you undertake an experiment like that on an animal, that the contract, as it were, is that animal will come back blessed to be not only a human birth, but to be a saint in a human birth. So lest we feel that there's a cruelty to animals going on here, no, it's not operating on that level at all. These are the soul mechanics. These are the soul dynamics that the great siddhas know and have no problem demonstrating. The unusual thing is that Swami Kaleshwar, his stance was, yes, I have miracle abilities. It's true. I worked very hard for them. Every human being has miraculous abilities. And if you are willing to do the hard work, I will teach everything that I know. And I have to say, a lot of people make a lot of promises in this world. He exceeded expectations. He did not disappoint. Unbelievable. He left it all out on the table. Everything. No stone unturned. And in fairly short order, actually, I would say maybe within a year of this occurring, and he did a few of these for different student groups, but then there was a point where we were also doing the same miracle with birds. So it wasn't only the master demonstrating, he was giving us the tools and the channels and the technology and the understanding about how to recreate these kinds of miraculous experiences. This is a very famous, beautiful thing in Penukonda, his beautiful ashram, which I'll show you pictures of. This it's called either the Amrita lingam or the Emerald lingam by Kaleshwar students. He manifested it with the help of two female students in 2002 from a pile of river sand. And actually, you can see the tail end of the river sand pile here. So there was a large group of students who were doing a very strong meditation process for some months. I think it was about 9 months, carrying around sand in different containers from holy rivers around that part of South India and doing very, very high energy processes with that sand. Then when it came to the culminating point, he had them dump all the sand in his beautiful building. This is actually in his Dwarkamai right now. If you were to walk into this room, his tomb is literally right here where the sand is. He's buried there. But this was early. So anyway, so he had two women who he made a lottery among that group of students. Who's going to help? Turned out to be these two ladies. So he had them take this sandalwood stick and go around like in this pile of sand. Is there anything there? Is there anything there? No, Swami, there's nothing there. Okay, you're sure? Yes, Swami, there's nothing. They poked all around in the sand. And then at a certain point in the process, the way they described it, he made them cycle it around clockwise, and suddenly it hit something in the sand. And that was this unbelievable solid emerald lingam that emits a fluid called Amrita. Amrita is literally called the nectar of immortality. Many people know it from different references in spiritual traditions. However, this is literally Amrita. It is not figurative. It is not metaphoric. It's not in the human system. It is an externalized thing that would emit from this lingam. And this was right after it was created. But sometimes it would cover the whole floor in there. It's a fairly large room. We would scrape it off the floor and bottle it and use it for miraculous healing and for our self enlightenment. And it brought dead birds back together to life at different times, different things like that. It's like honey, only when you taste it, you're very clear this is not an ordinary substance. So here's the Amrita lingam. Sitting in at one point it was in a pasta pot full with the Amrita. He would turn it on and off on the ashram. Sometimes they would emit so much Amrita that a few hours the floor would be covered, and then for whole months at a time it wouldn't emit anything at all. He had total command of it. He said that this lingam would be a player in the drama, in the enlightenment wake up of this whole planet for 1,000 years. And he planned that it would be on his grave after he takes samadhi when he is gone, and that it would, people in the future would be able to taste the Amrita and see Mother Divine on the spot and become enlightened. Simple, done. There's another view of the Amrita lingam. They got a nicer pot at a certain point to put it in when it was outside of his holy building there. And then today, so this is like, that's on top of his tomb. It's roughly where his heart would be. And when we go to Penukonda on the high festival times, frequently there are many processes and spiritual ceremonies done with that lingam, including giving it a holy bath. When you're washing a power object like that, you're not only washing your own karmas, but helping to transmit that kind of purification to the whole planet. Really powerful. I'm sure you can feel the energy, which is why I like to show the photos, because it's good to really just get the direct transmission. So this is very interesting. This is Swami Kaleshwar toward the end of his life. I believe this was 10 or 11. I guess 11. Anyway, it's a short film. It's in the back of the the Shirdi Baba temple, which I will also show you photos of in a minute. All the students are there on a program and everyone is singing bhajans. They're singing holy songs to the divine, which was a requirement on his ashram. Every night from 8 to 9 p.m. we go and we sing. That's it. There's an enormous spiritual mechanism in that, coming together to do that. And he insisted it must happen. Even sometimes he would come and like conduct the music and so on. He trained many musicians to share the sacred music from Penukonda. So anyway, the setup is this. Everyone is there in the temple singing, and they're singing to Kali. It's very interesting. And as you watch him, he gets some kind of a message that he needs to demonstrate a miracle. And he's very funny, as I mentioned. One of his early students had been friends with Doug Henning, the great magician of the 1970s, and I think into the 80s in America, and had told Swami about, the magicians rolling up their sleeves, to do their illusionist things. So from his early years, he would giggle sometimes and he'd say, see, is there anything? Is there anything? And then suddenly manifest an object out of thin air that he had either teleported from somewhere or created out of the void and brought to this side of the illusion reality. In this case, so he does actually roll up his sleeve right before he's about, and you see his hand going like this. He's manifesting. It's something is forming. And actually what it turns out to be is ash. He's creating vibhuti. Ash is what happens when you burn anything in this planet, right? You apply the fire element to any form, it will reduce to its purified remains, which are simply ash. So there's a deep meaning in the technology of the saints who manifest ash. They're burning out all the karmas of the people who are receiving that experience. And unfortunately, the camera kind of didn't follow as quickly as one would like. So we don't necessarily see all the ash coming in his hand, but we see him then put it on the head of a beautiful elderly lady there, my colleague Janananda, who's in such a bliss in the bhajans that I don't even think she was fully aware of what was happening. He did this a lot. So I'll just let it play and you can enjoy the energy of seeing the Shakti in motion as he's manifesting vibhuti and blessing a student with it. So when I'm talking about miracles, this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's so profound and it's on such a scale that it kind of defies even talking about it, but we have to talk about it. Right. So, traditionally the yogic path, what many of the great, beautiful yogis have brought to the world, has been, don't pay attention to the miracles. They are superficial. And it's not necessarily the mark of an enlightened soul. There are many siddhis, there are many supernatural abilities that people can win simply by doing X amount of times of a mantra, for example, or they can win these kind of superficial abilities from the mother. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they are scrupulous, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're enlightened. So the conventional yogic wisdom was, yeah, they happen, but don't get wrapped up in that. Don't focus on that. So it was difficult for many people who were very schooled in the yogic traditions of India to come to Kaleshwar, who was smashing all that. And his stance was, yeah, the suffering's gone on so badly now, and humanity is so in it, in a dark and painful way, that we actually need the technology, the miracles now to come back to humanity. Gangbusters. It's a different time from those more conventional, more traditional approaches. And if you stop and think about it, Jesus Christ, the greatest exponent of the high miracle tradition of India that we've ever seen on the planet, East or West. You know, he demonstrated these types of miracles 2000 years ago, and we're still talking about them today. So the impact of the miracle energy can't be overstated. When the souls are ready to be cracked open, to remember themselves in a deep divine way, and to be relieved of layers of heartbreak and suffering and painful karmas and all like that very quickly, the miracle energy is incredibly useful in that regard. And so Swami Kaleshwar, his stated mission was to train masters who could handle the suffering of humanity, not endless devotees, not millions of people praying to him worldwide, but rather he wanted to create students who would be a living representation, a living embodiment of the capacity to handle the miracles and to help humanity out of its painful heartbreak and suffering. So where did he get this knowledge? From ancient palm leaf manuscripts. He would always say to us, hey guys, I'm not making this up. This is not my own crazy. I'm telling you. He had access to many, many ancient manuscripts that were had been created on palm leaf books, dried palm leaves, literally, that saints would spend a whole lifetime getting the leaves down, preparing them to last for thousands of years in some special way. And then they would write on the leaves, but they didn't just write, they pinpricked like tattooing, so that these manuscripts would last for millennia. This particular book is about 2,000 years old. He had some that are 5,000. He had some that have technology that's 7,000 years old. So when you look at these two leaves of this book, this is just a half a leaf. There's another side on this side that we're not seeing in this photo. And same here. This book is about 2,000 years old, and the whole thing is about connecting to Mother, to get her darshan, to see her face to face as a solid three-dimensional form in our world, not as a human being. She's definitely not. She's beyond that. Not in a dream, a vision, a meditation, but to see her face to face, eye to eye in the physical realm. And these are some of the palm leaf books. Like you can see, there are many different sizes, shapes, depths, etc. Some of them, the characters are so small that you need a magnifying glass to be able to read what they wrote there. And they wrote all the formulas for humanity about healing. They wrote all the mantras. They gave all the yantras, like that form of the Mother. They gave the energy structure and the technologies about how to access the divinity effectively and precisely to bring relief to human beings. So Swami Kaleshwar, he would pore over these palm leaf books. He would decipher them. They wrote in code. They mixed up languages. They didn't make it easy. And he would find techniques that were useful to help right now with what the world is facing, what people are really suffering. He would test them out, and if they worked, then he would teach them to us. So this encyclopedic body of knowledge that he gave to humanity about healing and healing technology, all of it was coming from these ancient palm leaf manuscripts that were written by the great rishis. This is that full page of that book with the Mother. So this whole book, called the Parameshwari Yoga palm leaf book, the whole book is about Shiva and Shakti, God the Father, God the Mother, God the Father, God the Mother. So they would alternate on the pages, or from Shiva's structures to Mother's structures. And here you can see she's like showing all of her chakras. Everything on her is mantra. If you were to see the book close up, which I actually have, everything on it is like tiny mantra everywhere, formulas. This is the roadmap about how to connect directly with the Mother in a powerful way. And also Shiva. There she is again. So I will say this because it's kind of another part of the Kaleshwar, important information. If you were to read Telugu, I don't know if we have any Telugu speakers on this call, but this particular book was written in a mix of Sanskrit and Telugu, with some also Kannada, another local language from South India there as well. But in her third eye is very clearly the syllable G. On either side of her forehead there, on either side of the third eye, are the syllables respectively Sa and Ha. So sa, Sa, Ha, in breath, out breath. Sun channel, moon channel, charging, decharging. There's a wealth of meaning there. But anyway, G, Sa. And if sideways on her nose is simply the syllable S. Swami made a point of showing us that the anglicized name of Jesus, G-sa-s, is literally written into the structure of the Mother Divine in this palm leaf book, particularly at her third eye, G, that capacity to burn negativity clearly. I think that gives us a very big clue into the nature of Jesus Christ and also about the depth of his relationship with Mother Divine, which is one of the missions that Swami Kaleshwar had to bring back to humanity, was to explain the reality of Christ, who he was as a great Siddha, and what his relationship with Mother was specifically. These are more pages from these ancient manuscripts. They are truly the treasure of humanity. Many Shiva yantras, structures, and also you can see how they wrote all the mantras in there. Mother Divine, her chakras. So just to give you a flavor of where this knowledge is coming from. This one's really amazing. Adipara Shakti in her full totality. And you can see, like, okay, first off, she has multiple heads. They're not all human-esque, but then she's connected to everything in nature, the birds, the snakes, the four-legged animals, the fish, the everything is she. Everything in the entire manifest creation is her. Super powerful. This is the Maheshwari yoga process mantra, which actually leads straight to the darshan of Mother. And this is a process that Swami gave, which I'll also talk a bit about as we get there. Here's a great Kaleshwar quote: "Mother is mother to every soul in the universe. She doesn't belong to any religion." Of course not. She made the whole thing. How could she be kept into one tiny little box, one tiny little angle of the creation? Yeah, people are expressing a lot of heat. That image of Jesus, yes. It's the statue that Swami installed in Penukonda in his Jesus temple there. I have many photos I will show you in a moment of that place. It is quite astounding. Let's see, I'm just reading the comments very quickly here. Arya, you're speaking Telugu, so you saw Jesus there. Right? You can see, I mean, they wrote a little more classically, but it's very clear. No? And yes, Hamsa, Soham, yes, there is a very powerful technique from the ancient palm leaf books that there is a meditation practice that's very intense, but it corresponds to the in-breath and the out-breath. So and hum, called the Surya Nadi and the Chandra Nadi processes, the sun and the moon on the internal subtle nerves in the body. Very, very interesting. Here's Kaleshwar. I know how to make her come into your life very strongly, to put her in front of you to deal with your soul. She will come. She is coming. She is already with you. So darshan, what does it mean to have darshan of Mother? It means, as I said, your eyes are open. It is not a dream. It is not a vision or a meditation. You're literally seeing her with your two eyes. In the early 2000s, Swami Kaleshwar, actually in 2000, he threw us into the first process with the Mother, what he called a Siddhi Purusha process that was extremely intense. There were 8 pages of rules of this process, which he didn't tell us the rules until after he had initiated us into it. We were 16 people with him in Sri Sailam, an ancient temple place in the middle of the jungle in Andhra Pradesh. Very powerful place. Anyway, he took us there by bus. It was 13 hours from Penukonda up the windy roads and the cliffs and oh my God. And there he initiated us into this process with the Mother as Kali. And he told us, you will get her darshan. You need to get her darshan. You have to deal with her directly. You have to see her. And after we all committed to the process and we were feeling the energy super strong, he gave us a mantra to connect to her. He gave us the process, things that we had to do on the full moon and new moon specifically, and a whole lot of other components around it. And then he gave us the 8 pages of rules, and it was strict. oh my God. And we had to live under those rules for like, I guess it was almost 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, in order to be able to build enough energy to stand in front of her and see her face to face, eye to eye. Mother as Kali, she's no joke, you know, and to deal with her energy in person, it's as if all of nature, all of it, its beauty and its ferociousness has been wrestled into one form, and she's literally physically incarnate in front of you, and she is not a human being. There's no doubt. Oh my God. So he was opening that door for his students and throwing us in the processes with her to have that experience. And I can say, having been in the room with her on a number of occasions, grace of Swami Kaleshwar, it was truly so far beyond mind-blowing. I really don't even know how to characterize it. I think I'll leave it at that for the moment. So this was, yes, I had my first darshan. I'm pretty sure it was 2001. I don't think it was 2000. In fact, it couldn't have been. So I'm fairly sure it was 2001. Those years are all kind of a blur to me. But anyway, so I was in a group of like 6 or 7 people, I think. And he made it very clear we were about to get a darshan of the mother, and we did a very special fire ceremony in his Baba temple there, which was a barn burner to get our souls ready to be able to stand in front of her for the first time. And, you know, in antiquity and in modernity, there are many stories of great saints who spent their whole lives doing meditations, trying to build the energy to see the mother, to get her darshan. And she comes and she's so fierce and she's so angry. She's really angry, that they die of a heart attack and on the spot. And Swami would say, you know, that's really not fair. She's not playing fair. That's her Mahamaya side again, right? This guy did, or woman, they did their hard sadhana. They built up the energy. They dedicated their life to see the mother. They see the mother and they drop dead because she's so freaky. Not fair, he said, because then you can't use what you got from her in that lifetime. Key point. You have to again incarnate. Again, you have to find the right master who has the channels to the mother. They are rare. They don't fall out of trees. Just to give us some perspective, Swami Kaleshwar, in his late 20s, his average age of his Indian students, mostly he was focused on the West, but he did have Indian students who came to him. Their average age was like 65, 70, and they were all saints. They all had their own ashrams. They had abilities. And it was so sobering. Like this guy that we're like joking around with and hanging out with, and he was fairly informal, or to a certain point. These old ancient saints, some of them with like dreadlocks down to the floor, are coming, hobbling in sometimes with a walking stick, you know, and shaking to go down in full pranam to him on the floor, begging him for the channels that he had to the mother. I can't emphasize how rare it is for such a one to have come to the planet. There aren't many. There are many great teachers. There are many great quote unquote enlightened figures, but majority of them do not have the channels to the mother, not even close. So yes, on that, someone asked about what was it like to be in her presence. I can say that first time was really upsetting. It was incredibly upsetting. Why was it? Oh, and someone's asking why she was angry. Yeah, well, I mentioned she's reflecting back the karmas to everybody in the mirror of nature. Seeing her face to face is like reckoning with all of nature. She knows your soul so precisely. She created your soul at the very, 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 very beginning, before millions of lifetimes. And frankly, she sees all the layers of the crazy karmas that you're still carrying to this point, and she's not happy. She's a mirror back. And in her mirroring in a kind of rageful way, she's helping devour your layers of karmas, your past life nonsense, all the people we killed and maimed and raped and pillaged and whatever we've all done that we don't remember or would prefer not to remember from myriad lifetimes. She's helping to eat all of that. But the price of that dissolution of some of those karmas in her presence is you have to be willing to stand while she is a tsunami, while she is a tornado, while she is a wildfire, while she is honestly pretty furious. Anybody who was raised by a mother, we all know at a certain point, you push their buttons as a toddler and you push their buttons and then you go over the limit and they let you know that you have crossed the point of no return, right? There's the look, there's the grab your arm and kind of give you a shake as you're trying to run into traffic for the 4th time. And she said no. There's that finality from our moms when they're really pissed, that stops you in your tracks. And she's like that, amplified by about a millionfold, to be honest. So the first time, yes, she actually, my experience was, it was hilarious. The Swami Kaleshwar, he's an illusion master. He knows exactly how to wade through her tricks and games and her Maya. The thing is, she wants us to know her, but she's not going to make it easy. Why? Because the karmas are involved. You don't just walk up to the mother and ask her for supernatural abilities. Yeah, right. No. She will test and she will throw everything at you that could possibly be an obstacle between you and her. She wants to know, are you going to stand? This is a different from the bhakti path. The bhakti path is devotion, right? I pray to the mother, I worship her, she gives me her blessing. I love her, she loves me, we're great. That's beautiful. This is not a bhakti path. This is a Shakti path. In the Shakti path, we are saying to her, I am made in your image, mother. Therefore, I have the same creation abilities that you do. I want to know that creation ability. Please, will you bless me that? And her response is, whoa, who's that child with their hand in my pocket? Trying to get what I have. Let's see. Let me shake them this way. Let me shake them that way. Let's throw an illness at them. Let's throw a car accident. Let's throw a financial wipeout. Let's throw a beautiful illusion. The perfect job, the perfect marriage, the perfect this or that. Are they going to stand in their devotion to me? Are they going to stand in their single point of focus that they want what I have to give? Or are they going to get distracted, diverted, give up, run away, whatever? Let's see. She is like that. She's not malicious. She is honest. And she wants to know, will you stand? Not for the faint of heart, I can say, truly, having lived it all these years and having had Kaleshwar be like an advocate with her, and in between, a brilliant negotiator with her. So he would soften the deal so that we could stand in front of her and not, let's say, expire of a heart attack. He would take her rage for us. He would sacrifice himself, actually, to do that for us in a real and a tangible and a very physical way. He knew how to command the Mother Divine in a way that I would venture to guess very few saints have had that ability. She had no secrets from him. He knew exactly which way her Maya is going to go. He knows exactly which way is her truth side. And he would navigate through her crazy waves to get us to the gold with her. So my first darshan experience was, we were this group and he told us, oh, it's going to be like this and it's going to go like such and such, and she's going to appear in this way and la, la, la. And when we actually got in the room where it was happening, nothing that he said happened. Nothing. It was all completely baffling and confusing. And to me personally, upsetting. I don't know what my other colleagues experienced in the room. I never asked them about it. But I was like gobsmacked by the energy, freaked out by what happened in the room. It was such a setup. It was hilarious. And when I came out of it, I was like, my head was spinning. I didn't know which end was up. It was very divine. I will say that. And so one of the setups, which was just so comical in retrospect, was we were a group of mostly women and a couple of only German-speaking men who were very dear. Everyone was very soft in this group and very powerful. And and I was comfortable. I think I'm kind of maybe socially awkward or something. So it meant something to me in my attachment level that this was a group of people I actually really liked or admired. And then right as we walked in to have this darshan experience, Swami brings in this other guy who I just didn't like him. I'm sorry. I just did not like him at all. And I'm like, oh, the feeling is like, what's he doing here? Of course, like, hey, he's a divine student of our master. Our master knows what he's doing, right? But I'm like, oh, so that was like the first, to my mind, a monkey wrench for me personally. And it kind of spiraled from there. And then Mother appears, and then she says, what do you want? And most of the people can't say anything at all because they're just like deer in the headlights. I managed to blurt the truth, meaning of this whole reality creation, before I can't even speak anymore. And then this guy, this elderly guy, German man. Oh my God. He like hijacks. Again, this is my attachment, crazy mind at the time speaking the whole thing, and starts talking to her in this exquisite German. I don't speak German, but I understood enough of the fragrance of it. Like this whole long, poetic, flowery passage to the mother. And I'm just like, oh my God, are you for real? Because one of the things that we know is that these things go very quickly. Like you don't have a lot of time. You kind of want to get in and get out with her because her illusion waves are so strong. And here's this guy going off in this whole line. Oh my God. So I was just like, really? And then right after that ended, Swami made each of us take some petals off of a rose. He had a rose there. So we were all holding some rose petals. And then he had us put all that into his hand, Swami's hand. And then he held it very tight in his hand. And he said, okay, now what's in my hand? Everybody guess. And that German man said, oh, it's a Shiva lingam. I know it. Now, then Swami's quizzing everybody else in the room, the other 7 or 8 people or whatever. And each one is saying, it's a Shiva lingam, it's a Shiva lingam. And I'm thinking, are they just saying that because this guy said it with such surety, or do they actually see it? And when he gets to me, Alex, what is it in my hand? I'm like, I don't know, Swami, it could be a Shiva lingam. I saw something crystal, that's all. I didn't really have a big perception. And he opened his hand and the rose petals were gone and there was a crystal Shiva lingam, a very powerful oval stone there, which he gave to the German guy. But it was interesting, like all of our energy was in it because we had all held those rose petals. So I'm just like, what is it, man? He throws this guy in the last second. He walks off with everything. He's going this whole long thing with the mother when the rest of us can't even really speak. And it just was so, it was enervating, to be honest. It was really like, it was my feeling. And I remember going back to my room after this. It was pretty late at night, and I'm writing and writing and writing furiously in my journal. And I'm so upset about this. And I really should go back and read that. I'm sure it's a comedy show. Anyway, I'm so outraged and blah, 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 blah. Jonathan came back to the room because everybody knew that this group was having a darshan that night. How was it? Was it great? And I'm like, shut up, I'm writing. Blah. I'm just writing it all out. I'm so angry, blah, 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 blah. And finally, somewhere in the midst of this, I catch myself and I'm thinking, wait a second, girl, you just walked in the room with the Divine Mother. Like 0.1% of the population of this planet has had that experience. People would kill to have that experience. Why are you angry? Like, what is your problem? I'm like, oh my God. Oh. And from that moment, the anger faded. And then I was just grateful, I see Swami on the ashram the next day. He walks by me, he goes, Alex, you angry with me? I just said, not now, Swami. Of course, he knew the whole thing. It was very funny. But that was my first experience with the mother. She roiled up all of my anger, all of my insane attachment level, all of my, I know better, egoism. Oh, it should go this way. He said this, so it has to be like that. Oh, no, it doesn't. Not with an illusion master. He says this, and then he goes that way. Complete opposite, to confuse the Maya so that he can give what he wants to give. And she can't tear it down before it happens. So that was quite instructive. So that was an experience that I had. Oh, yeah. Oh, it was really quite celestial to be around him, I have to say. And then there's Jonathan. We have to talk about Jonathan, because Jonathan Rosen, my former partner, an astounding siddha. Jonathan had come to Swami in 1997. He was at that Marin County where the rose ignited, and he saw many, many, many extraordinary miracles over the years with Swami. And he had come from a 30-year relationship with TM, where he was a TM teacher. He had gone on long programs with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He had given it his all. And Jonathan had finally, after 25 years, had to admit to himself that he hadn't gotten it, despite having given it his whole life, TM. And it was a big heartbreak for him with the gurus. So he didn't take on another real spiritual path. He kept meditating. Minimum 3 hours a day. Jonathan was a great, astounding meditator, real yogic soul. Until Kaleshwar healed a friend of Jonathan's of a terminal cancer in like 5 minutes by manifesting ash into that guy's mouth and putting it on his third eye, and took away a stage 4 lymphoma. Jonathan saw that and at first was kind of upset by it, and then was like, yeah, but how did he do that? How did he take the meditation energy and translate it into such a dramatic healing? I have to learn about that. So he became a Kaleshwar student in 97. I met Jonathan in 1999. And shortly thereafter, he and I became an item. And shortly thereafter, I met Kaleshwar. And then I was in India for the first time. It was just like boom, boom, boom. It all happened within a matter of maybe 2 or 3 months. And anyway, Jonathan was kind of an amazing character, I have to say. You could see his face. I mean, he's super mischief, super light, super gleaming, super, wow, I don't even know what to say. He was a Maha. He was a great, great soul. Anyway, Jonathan, so when Swami would give the darshans, generally he wouldn't advertise that they were going to happen, because he didn't want to draw her attention on them. And he didn't want to sabotage the experience, which the mother will do. I'm telling you, if you announce to everybody, oh, you're going to take a beautiful, group to a very high spiritual experience, she's like, oh yeah, you think so? And she would crash it one way or another. And we saw her go to very dramatic lengths, actually, in Penakonda. So then Swami just wouldn't announce anything. He would quietly give people these darshan experiences and this and that in the back room late at night, nobody the wiser. Then he would announce it after it was done. In Jonathan's case, this is Jonathan a year before he took Mahasamadhi. He left his body in 2016. But you can see, I think, in his eyes very clearly the full measure of what a great soul he is. Anyway, so Swami says, Jonathan's going to have a darshan. It's going to be a very big darshan with the mother. He announced it to everybody, which was unusual. And then he put Jonathan in a process where Jonathan had to meditate on his own in that Dwarkamai, in the building where the Amrita lingam was, for about 3 days, I think. He was in there more or less 24/7. He would come out for the toilet, to eat, and to shower, but otherwise he was sleeping in there on a little mat, and he's in this very high energy building, trying to figure out what he's going to ask the mother. What is he going to ask her? Because in this tradition, if you walk away empty-handed from a darshan, you're a fool. If you're standing in front of a divine soul, or if you're standing in front of Mother Divine, she has certain things she can bless you with. It's very important we have to ask her, even vocally, not internally. And Kaleshwar was training us to know certain things that we're asking her for, what he would call the boons. And so he sent Jonathan to grind it, to really think very deeply, what are you going to ask her for? Jonathan would come out sometimes to use the bathroom in our room on the ashram, and he'd be like, oh my God, this is so hard. I'm writing things down. I don't even know. He's trying to brainstorm it. He's meditating, he's thinking. And then after a few days, he felt like he got it. And the deal was you had to make it all in one sentence. Let's say you think to ask her for like 5 different things, but somehow you have to whittle it all down and make it so concise that even in very high energy, when you're completely gobsmacked by her, you can ask what you are there to do. You have business to transact with her, right? We want her abilities. We want to be able to do the miracles. We want to be able to open the hearts of humanity. We want to be able to command her level of Shakti in this world. That's not a small potatoes. We're asking her for the whole thing, you know? And she will do everything in that darshan to confuse your mind and to send you this way and that way so that you don't get to the point. It's very tricky to deal with her. I will point out that the word matrix in English comes from the Latin, which is the womb. I think that pretty well says it all. Okay, so Jonathan finally, he's feeling pretty good. He's got his sentence, you know, and Swami has him stand up in front of the whole group. Jonathan, tell us. Jonathan's so proud, you know, he's a very enthusiastic guy. And he reads this sentence that is like bad lawyer speak. Dear mother, please bless me, la, 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 because I want to be able to la, 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 la with it in order to la, 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 and to help humanity, la, 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 la. It goes on and on and on. And he recites it. He's so proud of himself. Jonathan had also been an actor in his youth, so he had that presence, you know. He finishes, and Swami just looks at him and says, really, Jonathan? First time you're going to see her, you're going to ask all that, huh? You know, if you ask her, you want to experience the ocean, she'll turn you into a fish, man. My advice, make it a bit shorter. So Jonathan had to do that. So then what occurs is that Swami takes Jonathan late one night. Here's the thing, Jonathan put in the work, right? He did what was necessary. And so because we make our effort from our side, no matter how tiny and minuscule and peanutty and uninformed it is, the mercy of the gurus is that they'll take the other 90%. They will carry us through. So Swami took Jonathan and two other guys along in a car ride to this place called Bukkapatnam, 45 minutes from Perukonda, where there's an ancient, not ancient, 1500s, medieval time statue of the mother, very powerful, in a small temple there. And right before Jonathan walked in for the darshan with the mother, Swami whispered to him the exact sentence that encompassed everything Jonathan had been wanting to ask her and had been thinking of and all that in one sentence. So when Jonathan walked in and mother came there, he knew what to ask her. That is the real grace of the guru. Because Swami also, he didn't want to make any failures. So Jonathan, as it turns out, in Bukkapatnam, this is that temple, and there's this big, fierce Durga there, a big, beautiful mother statue. It wound up, he spent 27 minutes in his dialogue with Mother Divine in that darshan. It is, I believe, the longest one on record in the Sai family. And it was pretty intense and very fierce and confusing and extraordinary. And one of the things that Jonathan said, I won't go into the whole thing because I am mindful that we have a lot to cover and time is what it is. But one of the things that he said was that when he walked into this place, the statue had disappeared. The statue, which fills this entire tiny little temple, she's huge. You can see, here's the floor of the temple. Here's the ceilings, the wall. She's like 9 feet tall, but she's seated. Yeah. And it's a small little place. It's like a hole in the wall temple. She disappeared. And in her stead was this like nice Indian lady standing there. Okay. She didn't look like Kali. She didn't have the tongue and the, you know, crazy arms and the wild eyes and all that. And Jonathan was so confused. He was like, she looked like, he said, like a woman representing a product at a trade show booth, like an Indian trade show lady. Nice sari, you know, kind of radiant, but she looked like a woman. Jonathan's looking at Swami like he's kind of giggling. He's like, "Are you serious? Like this is the mother?" So there was a big illusion of the form there. She was totally Kali, which she showed throughout the course of that darshan in different ways to Jonathan. But initially, he was just utterly befuddled because her form that was in front of his eyes made absolutely no sense. It just could not jive with this, you know, wild energy that was coursing through the room. And of course, it was the mother. One of the other things that he said was that she knew before he spoke to her, and he did have to speak his request to her, she already knew what he was going to say. It's almost like she was saying it with him at the same time. Someone said, how does one know what boon to ask for? That's why you take the training with a master, a Siddha master like Swami Kaleshwar, who's an expert on the mother. He trained us exactly. And it was quite rigorous. It's not like you can get it in 5 minutes and then you know if she appears what to say. It's a big, deep purification of our soul and of our whole structure and of our karmas in order to be prepared in such a way to stand in front of her and be able to speak with her like that. It's a big deal. So no, he was not alone with the mother for the darshan. It's a very interesting question, Grace. Swami was there the entire time. And Adi, yes, I'll get to that in a moment. One of the things that Jonathan was aware of during that phenomenal 27 minutes with mother is that it's what I also experienced in multiple darshans with Swami over the years, that Swami Kaleshwar, by standing there with us, like as the agent between the two of us, he was siphoning off her rage. He was accepting the boatloads of fury that she was pouring out in, I could say, in relationship to seeing me. But Jonathan, we did talk about it. He had the same experience. The Swami was siphoning off all of her anger reflection to us in order that she would give us the reality of herself. That is the role of a guru. They stand between you and the mother in such a way that they help us be able to survive that experience, to put it bluntly, and to get what we came to get from her, which is kind of also pretty astonishing. And Adi is asking, are there any real masters like Kaleshwar now in the world? He prepared hundreds of students to meet this level. And people would ask him in interviews often, what is your contribution to spirituality in this planet? And he would say, my students. I expect my students to exceed my capabilities, or else my life is a waste. No pressure. So he trained us all very strongly. And my feeling is, I can't speak for my colleagues. I don't know the full measure worldwide of the maybe 1,000+ students that he trained very intensively, directly and personally, but he seems to be expecting that we will be giving the darshan experiences to our students in the future, and or that he will do that from his samadhi for people who are prepared at such a level. So the answer is yes, there are masters in this world, and yeah, like that. So, oh yes, hundreds, says Deborah. Yes, worldwide, he trained many hundreds in Japan, in Germany, in Austria, in US, in UK. There were some Australians, there were some Czech Republic, there were some other European countries, but those are majority. He focused on the Americans, the German-speaking people. I would include the Austrians with the Germans, and the Japanese. Very interesting. Undoing the World War II karmas of our planet while he's at everything else. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so Jonathan remains in the Sai family canon as a legend with the mother. Let's say it like that. Yes, worldwide, definitely focus on the West. And he had his Indian students, and we don't know how many of those there were. But he gave some pretty good channels to some extraordinary siddhas also in India, for sure. Someone's asking about the relationship with Sanat Kumara, and I can't say I know that directly. So, yes, my question, Brian, would be, does he have channels to the mother? Very few do. That they can bring her in a physicalized darshan there. Question mark, giant question mark. So I am in her fierce. In her fierce. So yes, and then so we went through this rigorous process in the early 2000s to be getting the darshans with the mother. which many of the students at that time were having those experiences. Many. He was leading groups into the room with her. He was asking her to appear. She would come in different ways for different groups at different times. Sometimes she would speak with them directly. Sometimes she wouldn't speak. Sometimes she would manifest objects for us. I had that experience on another occasion in a darshan. But it was really hard. The preparation for it was really difficult. Yes, a woke state of a dream is a beautiful step toward that. However, it's not the same as like I'm sitting here, you're sitting here, and we're physicalized. That's a different thing. So yes, and it's very interesting. Someone's pointing out about Karunamai and Amachi and Mira and all the different female saints. They're embodying the mother. They are giving her energy to the planet and taking care of the souls. They're not teaching the mechanisms. They're not creating masters. That's a different thing. To them, it's very bhakti. The people around them will always be children to the mother. For us, in this tradition, we want to operate like the mother does. Totally different ball of wax and completely different level of mastery. Swami Kaleshwar would say to create one master, one, able to handle the mother and handle the illusion successfully in this planet, it is the equivalent of a normal saint taking care of 1 million souls. And he wasn't only making just one master. He was making many, many, many. Someone had a hand up, or I see that, or was that accidental? I don't know. But I think, you know, if you'd like to ask something, they can unmute, right? Jennifer, do you want to ask something?
I have everyone muted, actually, Alex, just so that we just you speaking. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Jennifer, can you put it in the text and we can hear your question? Farah is saying, I'm so hot. Yes, the energy is very, mother's very warm. She is very, very warm. That is for sure. When the heat is coming, you know it's the mother is there. Yeah, so the early 2000s were rigorous, and we had to do a lot of hard work to kind of like get those experiences and get those doors open. And we had to live under a lot of discipline because her illusion waves, when she knows you're coming to her for the reality of who she is, not just the love and the blessing and all that lovely stuff, she's really pulling out all the stops on the illusions to test and shake you this way and shake you that way, as is the master, by the way. So it was hard. It was very rough, and we had to be very disciplined. And it was a lot of emotional roller coasters and a lot of washing out all the blocks and the crazy purificatory stuff. We were like psych ward people on that ashram for those years. I could say we were all pretty crazy. Anyway, after that, and many, many hundreds of people had the darshans in Penukonda, then Swami Kaleshwar came out to the West with the Maheshwari process, Maheshwari yoga, where the students could get an initiation straight from the palm leaf book. They had to do a mantra no more than 20 minutes a day, and he would guarantee them darshan of the mother if they came to India. And indeed, so Jonathan and I, look at us, mom and dad for the kids, as it were. We led a group of 64 people, majority from Northern California, through the Maheshwari process. And in spring 2008, at Mahashivaratri, they all got the darshan of the mother. And on that particular occasion, she was full on Kali, I have to say. She was like, at least what I saw, she had the skull necklace and the crazy blue face and like war paint, and she was wild. And it was really a testimony to how much more available she is. Your description of mother makes oral exams for grad school seem like a deep pleasure. Yes. There's nothing like being in the room with her. She's really something. Yeah, Sanat Kumara, I don't know that much about, so I would need to know who that is in order to speak on that relationship, you know. Yeah, mother, she's really hitting a lot of people with the heat. I can see this in there, yes. So, Arya, what do I feel for all of you as a group? Interesting, very powerful group of souls, actually. And I feel like, you know, there's a lot of possibility of working together if people are interested in these channels. This is all I do since 1999. This is my life. I have dedicated my life to the service of these divine bosses, as we call the guru lineage, and to the mother. And this is what I teach. Many of us are out there. I mean, I'm certainly not the only Sai student of this lineage who's doing this kind of work in the world, but Adi happened to connect to me, and so here we are. Sadhguru is a beautiful soul. He's a very beautiful soul. Majority of the saints we see in the world, as I say, they don't have the strict channels to the mother. That is very rare. So you can make of that what you like. So these 64 people, we all walked in late at night, and Swami, oh my God, we had just gotten there to Penakonda, to India. In many people, it was their first time being on the ashram in Penakonda, which is extraordinary. And I will show you photos of it so you'll get the flavor. So it's a big adjustment. And then the energy of the mother is really ripping through them all. They're doing this mantra to get her darshan, and they're jet lagged, they're tired, they're exhausted. Swami meets with Jonathan and me, and he goes, well, it's going to be tonight. We're like, really? Oh my God. He said, yeah, guys, it's going to be tonight. We're like, okay, well, we're not telling the group anything because we don't want the illusion to hit. So Jonathan and I just kept it to ourselves. And then Swami had us come to his fire pit that night, the whole group, where he started doing crazy, crazy burning, washing, crazy, crazy helping, crazy questions. Nothing made any sense. He was confusing everyone's minds to get them really washed out in his fire. It literally, we're sitting around his fire pit. Then to go in and to see the mother. And so we went into the main temple. One of the Saptarishis. Okay. Thank you. So yes, there's an enormous relationship between Swami Kaleshwar is also one of the Saptarishis, so it's a big family on that level. Muktananda and Gurumai, of course, yes. And Muktananda is also in this lineage of saints, especially Bhagavan Nityananda, his master. These masters were bringing the Shakti very strongly. Again, they were not teaching the channels. Muktananda had the same channels. He had the same relationship with the mother. He is the Dattatreya saint, for those who know the term. But different timing. So we're in Northern California. Oh, all these people, everybody was from different parts of Northern California. They were from Mendocino County, from Santa Cruz, from Marin, and so on. So like that. So finally we walked in. He invited the mother. We could hear her coming. You could feel her energy. It was super intense. And then everybody walked in. And they got her darshan one by one by one by one. It was like an assembly line, and it was super intense. And I'll tell more about what happened after that. But how on earth did we all get to this place where 20 minutes a day, a mantra, and he guaranteed darshan? So this was 5 of us that Swami earlier in 2007, he sent us for the first time out into the world, both in San Francisco and in Santa Monica in Southern California and Los Angeles, to speak about our experiences of darshan with the mother. And many of us had never shared it with anyone, let alone publicly to like 300 people until this night. This is my colleague Nityananda, Monica, Jonathan, me, and Chinello. All of us had rather epic darshan experiences with the mother, and hearing each other together to explain our experiences with Swami and with the mother was, wow. You could really see like striking a blow to the negativity of the world by bringing this to America at that time. Well, I did describe Jonathan's a little bit, and I definitely spoke about one of my experiences as well. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about what happened here with the with this group after the darshan. So this is our group meditating. Swami told us this very specific place, which is on the Penakonda ashram, referred to as the Jesus power place. There's something under the ground there, very powerful, related to Christ, that is buried, and it is direct to his lifetime. So we were instructed we had to meditate on this place in the early mornings as part of our group process, which we did. And when, so right after we had seen the mother, and everybody, like they're gobsmacked. She was very Kali. She was super fierce. She was super intense. I saw her moving. Some people saw her stationary. She was like the hand up in the blessing and with the tongue dripping, and she was pretty intense. I think most people saw her for maybe a second or two on that round. It was not lengthy because there were 64 people in our group, and then Swami did for the LA group another 40 something people that night after us. It's like he was a busy guy that night with the mother. Anyway, we were then sitting in the main temple, the Baba temple, which I'll show photos of in a minute. And women are crying. They're gobsmacked. They've seen the face of God, is female. Everybody eyes open. This was not a trance meditation dream. No way. She's as physical as I am. And the energy blasting off of her was enough for many lifetimes, I would think. It was really something. So Swami comes, gets Jonathan, says, Jonathan, stand up, man. Take off all your clothes except your underwear. And then typical Swami, good thing you're wearing underwear, man. So Jonathan strips down to nothing except his underpants. Swami ties this, you can see this white lungi, a white silk piece of cloth around Jonathan, like a sarong. It's too big, so he ties it up around the chest in a cute little bow. And then he says, I'm going to put the energy of the mother in him. Has another colleague come and smack Jonathan 5 times on the back of his chest, right behind the heart. And it's 1:30 in the morning. It's all marble floors. It's pretty cavernous temple. So it sounds like cannon fire getting these smacks on his back. And then at that point, Swami starts going like this. I think you guys can see me in the window, right? He starts doing his whole arm in a huge rotation. And then his arm goes all the way up, shoots up to the roof of the temple. It's at least 16, 20 feet. It's a very high building. Through the air, just goes through the air. I just saw it like stretch through the ether. And he came down with this in his hand, which I have here and I will show as well. So we didn't know for quite a long time what this was. We were very clear that this was a weapon of Mother Divine. That we did. And he hands it to Jonathan. And he says, Jonathan, where did this come from? And Jonathan says, without even a yes, of course. Yes, it's coming. Taipusam is coming, Arya. Yes, you nailed it exactly. So he hands it to Jonathan and says, where did it come from? And Jonathan says, it came from the mother. And I'm like, wow, how do you know that so quick? I mean, without missing a beat. I'm like, dang, okay. Swami told us it is solid emerald. I think you can see that rather clearly. It is not from this planet. It is millions of years old. And it's very clear it's one of her weapons. Yeah, very clear. Okay, that's kind of all we knew. He told us keep it hidden when you get back to America. A whole lot of things. Later, I asked Jonathan, I said, how did you know so rapidly that came from the mother? And he said, oh, when Kaleshwar's arm was going like this, there was a swirl on the top of the temple. And when Jonathan said that, I was like, oh my God, I saw that too, or felt it, or perceived it, or whatever. And then Jonathan said, when Kaleshwar's arm went up into the top of that swirl, her big brown hand with all the bangles, the bracelets like the Indian ladies wear, came out of the swirl with this in her hand and gave it to Kaleshwar, who then gave it to Jonathan. So I was like, oh my God, well, that would tell us how he knew it was mother. He got a second darshan there. So she manifested this through Kaleshwar for Jonathan. And it took us some years before we found out from the mother herself that this is it's the Shakti Veil. The veil is a spear. Someone asked, is it a wand? It's a spear. It's one of her many weapons in her arms to destroy negativity. And it is, not to go too far afield, but it is the weapon that she gives to Lord Muruga, what Arya was saying in the text. Muruga is great, one of the great deities, if you will, in the Indian pantheon. He is the general of the divine armies coming to destroy negativity. And she gives him this to take out the demons who represent fear, arrogance, and greed. So kind of finishing school for the supernatural people who tend to go down on those things. So we had this, and we kept it hidden until, oh yeah, you can really see when we hold it up to the light how emeraldy it is. It's completely translucent. It's a big power object, is how we would call it. And the power object means, you know, we use it for healing. We use it in the divine work. We use it to help. Yes, exactly. Kathy writes, we need that energy now to clear negativity. Yes, more than ever on this planet, I would say. When Kaleshwar came to visit us in Santa Cruz in California in 2011, he was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And we're like, what are you talking about? And he said, yes, Linda, in answer to your question, the image of this object will help you. Yes, you can print it and have it on the wall. Mother Divine told us it's very good to have it somewhere where you can see it. It will help you get clarity. The veil actually comes up through the human system, and its point ends at the third eye. So that tells us quite a lot. Or anyway, so he came to Santa Cruz and he was like, where is it? And we're like, what are you talking about? He said, the weapon. And we're like, well, you told us to have it hidden. He's like, no, don't hide it, guys. Okay. So anyway, we brought it out, and Swami had a nice little play with it. And then he touched it to our Shakti Baba statue. And from that point on, we were quite transparent about the fact that we had this. So that came out of that darshan with Mother. It tells us a lot about who Jonathan is. Yeah, I'll show you here. And also here, you can take a screenshot of it. It's fine. I don't mind. Also, this video will be on YouTube, I believe, so people can go back and see the recording. But yes, very good to print it out, put it up on the wall and look at it, or have it on your desktop and just look at it, especially when you need extra clarity, when you need extra focus, when you need to be very strong, even though a lot of winds are whipping around, you know, a lot of challenges are coming in your life. It's called the Shakti Veil, exactly what it says up here. Shakti Veil, V-E-L. It's the name of that weapon. It's a spear. Shakti means power. Yes, and this full moon actually is that time of the year when it's celebrated in South India called Taipusam, when Mother gave this weapon to Lord Muruga. Can't wait for our full moon fire homa that we'll be doing. It is now in Los Angeles with me. If you look in the little window at me, it's right here in front of my little face. Yes. White lines, 3 lines of Shiva. They represent the gunas, the qualities of this creation, the Rajo, the Tamo, and the Sattvic gunas, the extreme activity, the extreme creativity of the Raja guna, the incredible, what do you call, like sluggish selfishness of the Tamo guna, the egoism, and the beautiful purity and tranquility and peaceful and divine nature of the Sattvic guna, the three qualities of the creation held by Lord Shiva, God the Father, on his third eye, balancing, always balancing. So this came out of that darshan, and you know, to see the raw power of Mother expressed in a form like that, and then to be able to carry it and bless everybody with it is a big deal. It's not a small thing. Here's Swami again. So far, thousands of people practice these Mother Divine channels and have had unbelievable success. Yes. I believe it is the easiest and fastest way for any saint, any soul on this planet to connect to Shiva and Mother Divine. Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. So if you don't mind, can I talk a little more? I just want to share some things from Penukonda, and I know we've been on for a while, but
Oh, Alex, please keep going. It's amazing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
whenever you share.
Good, because I'm feeling the energy is really flowing, and I personally don't care about the time, but I want to be mindful of everybody else. Thank God it's recorded, and you can watch it later if you have to go or whatever. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, we'll get to her too. Oh my God. So this Mahishasura Mardini Ma, or Kanaka Durga, she is the mother in a beautiful form after she's destroyed the negativity. And Swami Kaleshwar actually put this 9-foot statue of her up right before he left his body in 2012. So here he is lighting a lamp for Lakshmi on Diwali. beautiful time of the mother in a peaceful, beautiful form. This is Penukonda. This is his ashram. When he first came there in the early, what was it, like mid 1990s, it was just nothing but thorn bushes and cobras. There was no building, there was no anything. It was wilderness. And with the divine grace, he built his first temple here. Penukonda itself means in Telugu, the big hill, big mountain. It's a very large mountain. And in it, there are caves that in the ancient days used to seat 1,000 rishis who would receive the information directly from the divine there. It's a very powerful place. You can, I'm sure, feel that mountain's power. It's incredibly intense. Yes, he did leave because he wanted to, Sumara. That's a big story. I'll tell a little of that as well. Yes, and we've definitely chosen to hear this tonight from Swami Kaleshwar. So this is again another view of that mountain and his ashram. This is recent, actually. A friend of mine was just there and they sent me this. Gorgeous. That's around dawn. You can see the sunlight on those mountains as it's coming up. This is the main temple there. This is back in the day with a large program of people from worldwide, maybe a couple hundred. He would give chit chats out by his fire pit. That's what it looks like at night on a full moon. Gorgeous. Yeah. So inside, so this is the ground level of that temple. This is the Shirdi Baba's living statue, life size, a little slightly larger than life size. He is the master of Swami Kaleshwar. So this is Baba. And that statue, oh my God, he's alive. He's completely alive. This is no doubt. It is the presence of Shirdi Sai Baba there. Yeah, you know, people are like, Swami would say, if you look at that Baba and you only see the rock, you've completely missed the whole boat there. That statue, I've seen his face change. I've seen him do miracles. He kicked a friend of mine in the head one night. I mean, it's majestic. So majority of Swami's teachings would occur in this temple with Baba. And he would, oh my God, he would say, you know, I don't do anything without consulting Baba. So even though Shirdi Baba died in 1918 and Swami Kaleshwar was born in 1973, they're like soul buddies. This is Swami Kaleshwar in the early years. This was like when he was first coming to America, meditating and holding the garland that's on the Baba picture there, very strong. This is later. I wanted to show you some of the interactions between Swami Kaleshwar and that beautiful Baba statue because it's really, I think they speak for themselves. He would refer to Shirdi Baba as Big Boss, giving the orders, and also Jesus as the other big boss. Oh, yeah. That lotus mala, oh my God. Just to give you the flavor of what it's like to be around him. Swami's parents, they were, I don't think so. I don't think they were disciples of any particular. No, Swami kind of came in his own way. They did not know about Shirdi Sai Baba until young Swami at 14 had a meeting with Baba who pulled a physical body and told him to come to Shirdi. Satya Sai said he was a reincarnation. Swami disagreed with that. I think he's also an emanation of Baba's energy, but not quite what he said he was, is my feeling. Is the medicine Buddha a replica of Divine Mother? Now, that's a good question. Many of the Taras and Avalokiteshvara, they are Mother represented. This is Swami and his wife and his daughter at the time. She's 18 now. Oh my God. Doing a ceremony, Abhishek, washing Baba there. One of my favorites, actually. Oh my God. Look at the profundity between the two of them. How many millennia, how many tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of years have they been at this duty together, helping this planet? It is truly beyond what the mind can process. This is the Baba temple today with one of the pujaris, one of the priests making ceremony there. Oh, one night all the power went out and the pujaris couldn't come. And one of my colleagues was like, Alex, make the arati. I'm like, what? Really? Okay. That was special. I think you can see his eyes. He's completely there. When they sculpt the statues in India, they don't generally fill in the iris or the pupil. They leave it flat like the Greek statues. And then over time, because of the ceremonies and the pujas that are done with the statue, a murti, they call it, the living presence, then the eyes start to come in. Baba's came in to the marble spontaneously. He is the big boss of the planet, I have to say. He's helping a lot with everybody in spirituality. This is what he looks like today. Oh my God, just glorious. So upstairs, directly above Baba, is the Jesus temple, which Swami inaugurated in 2001. He has a living statue of Christ, Jesus's mother Mary, Indian style, and Dattatreya, the generator, operator, destroyer, the 3-in-1, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva in one form. All of these characters are avatars of this Dattatreya. Yeah, it's a big healing, Maureen. Big transmission to the soul. This is Swami bringing the Jesus statue to life when it was first inaugurated. And we watched one eye came alive, and then the second eye came alive a few months later. His living statue, exactly that. It's the presence of that divinity in that form. It's not a rock anymore. They are there. So this is Swami teaching us the exact mechanisms, what Jesus did during his lifetime to learn the miracles. There are no words for that. This was frequently Swami Kaleshwar would hang out. This is the northeast corner of that same room. It's all open to the air. He built his ashram on perfect vastu. He researched on vastu, which is what feng shui came from. It's ancient knowledge about how the 5 elements of nature, the earth, the fire, the sky, the water, and the air interact with a building or the shape of a piece of land or whatever, to make it exact, perfect vastu so that it would hold the energy for millennia for spiritual people on this planet. Anyway, he would hang out there a lot, relaxing around Big Boss Jesus. This is later in his life, giving a lecture in front of Big Boss. Looking very fierce indeed. Shh, G-ball, come on. Got a house panther deciding he wants some attention here. This is what it looks like today. In fact, this was Christmas, this past Christmas. And our process group had bought the malas to put on the different divines there. This is 2019 when I took a group there on a power journey around South India and then to Panakonda. So we had the Jesus temple to ourselves and we could sit up there and meditate. Toward the end of his life, Swami used this place exclusively as his private quarters and office. And usually he would put a little mat down on the floor and sleep in front of Jesus every night. His prayer every morning, he would get up, he would take a shower, he would come in front of Jesus, he would say, use me. And then he would go downstairs to Baba and he would say the same thing. And then he would start his day. A big part of what Swami Kaleshwar came to do was to pick up where Yogananda left off and give historic Jesus, the yogi Christ, the greatest healer our planet has ever experienced, steeped in the palm leaf manuscripts from South India, himself one of the Saptarishis, to restore him to humanity in the proper way and to teach the exact mechanisms what Jesus had followed to gain the miracle abilities. He's not kidding, Swami Kaleshwar. Any human being can do what Jesus could do. When Jesus said, all my students will do all these works you will do and more, he wasn't kidding. It just took 2,000 years for that to come around again. These are technologies. They're not abstractions. They're hard and fast rules about how the energy operates. And Swami Kaleshwar had those same source manuscripts, what Jesus used, what Buddha used, everybody, same. So part of his restoration of Christ back to the world involved creating this phenomenal temple where you can really, I mean, Jesus is filling that whole place. Oh my God. And at night, I mean, we used to sleep up there. we'd all bring our little sleeping mats and bags and this and that, and just like 100 people on the floor there sleeping with the bosses. Absolutely amazing. Here you can see the statue, really a Murti up close. Tell me that's not alive. I mean, he's totally 1000% there. Yeah. So as Swami was coming toward the end of his life, they're painted on, Carol. His eyes are painted, but he's completely 1000% alive there. And his eyes, initially, they were just like staring straight ahead, but then they became alive and mobile as it went on. Toward the later years of his life, when I first met Swami, he was always saying, I want out of here fast. I do not want to stay in a physical body as a torture. I'm so much more powerful with my soul outside the body, but I agreed to come and teach you guys some stuff. And I think he thought it would be an easy in and an easy out. He didn't reckon on the Maya and the insanity of these students. And so it actually dragged on a lot longer. So I met him in 1999. He was 27 years old and he couldn't wait to get out. I was surprised he made it to 39 years old, to be honest. He was suffering every single day. He was in pain every single day. He was giving to Mother Divine everything from his physical body that he could, and willing and happy to suffer with it. And yet he was just dazzling, irresistibly powerful, cheerful, on his duty, absolutely no compromise, because he wanted to train his students to the maximum level that he could, and then take off and kind of let his student kingdom handle the planet from the physical side. So actually, one of my very dear friends, I didn't realize she took this photograph. She was one of the official photographers in Pinoconda. And what about his wife and child? Yes, well, that was pretty devastating. It was really hard on pretty much everybody who was there. It was very difficult for Silpa, his wife. She was left holding the ashram. She was at the time, how old was she? I want to say she was like 28. I can't even imagine. His daughter was about 6 at the time. His daughter is an absolute diamond. She's 18 years old. She's a prize-winning equestrian in India. She is an incredibly well-traveled, well-educated, brilliant, heartful diamond of a girl, dazzling. His wife managed to keep this incredible ashram running, even through a lot of ups and downs. And she remarried, actually, a couple of years back. Her daughter said, well, I've had it not having a dad, so I'm finding you a husband. And found her a husband. Silpa in her own right. Swami also had a farm that provided a lot of food for the local area. He set up charity after charity after charity. He built an eye hospital for indigent people to get eye surgeries and treatments for no cost. He funded whole villages to have fresh water supplies, to have education for kids from childhood through university. You can't even imagine the amount of social service that he provided, and that ashram still provides in the whole area. But so Silpa kept all that going as well. And she took his farm and transformed it into all organic and sustainable farming. And now she speaks in South India about all of that. So she's risen to be quite an astonishing caretaker of so many divine things. She is amazing. Anyway, so this was his last look. He walked outside the temple and he looked up at the night sky, and my friend caught it, and I didn't realize. I've loved this photo ever since I first saw it. This was his last breath outside before he started his dying process. And years later, my friend and I are talking about it, and she goes, oh yeah, I took that photo. I was like, what? I'm sorry, what? Oh my God, I had no idea. Anyway, yes, his last moment. And anyway, then he left the body. Can I talk about his pain and his physical health? Yes, technically speaking, he died of liver and kidney failure, and he was in hospital. Yeah. He was totally in hospital. He went like a normal way, you know, on that level. He had told a student group earlier, maybe a year earlier, he said, when you are an avatar, when you are a divine enlightened ascended kind of master, he said, yes, it's processing all the pain and suffering and negativity and heartbreak and viciousness of humanity, actually, Stephanie. He was taking it on for the world through his physical form. He said at one point, Jesus had a rapid crucifixion. Mine has been a slow one. Anyway, he told a process group, he said, when you are an avatar, you can determine how you want to make your exit. If you want a peaceful exit, you can have that. Great, good karma. Everybody should die peacefully. That's lovely. However, he said, if you go out in a rough and tough and a suffering way, you can take more negative karmas for humanity with you out the door. And he said, be sure mine will be rough. And it was. It really was. I can say. So then they brought his body back to the ashram. And then he was buried in his Dwarkamai, this holy, holy building. There were some people were there in the hospital, yes, mostly Silpa, his wife. This is his building, the Dwarkamai. Dwarkamai means he would call it a soul hospital. It's a place where you go and your soul is at total ease. He would also say it's equal to the energy of Mount Kailash, the home of Shiva and Shakti in Himalayas, the famous Himalayan peak. He would say that energy is in this place. Also Shirdi South, like the place where Shirdi Baba's bones are and his phenomenal power place. Same energy is in this building. So this was his tomb right after he was buried. He's in under this like a marble thingy do. And they made for a long time glass because the Indians like to see the masters on their way to and from work. Why was he not cremated? When you are an avatar of that magnitude, and he told us specifically, you guys, you cannot cremate, you have to bury. Your bones are so vibrating with the divine energy that they are power objects that keep giving the consciousness to the whole planet and to everyone who visits and to anyone in proximity of those bones. They are power objects in their own right because that human being has fused with the mother and with Shiva and with the high consciousness, and all of that is coming through the bones. So we actually have no permission in this tradition to cremate. You cremate, you're coming back again next lifetime, and there's nothing left, right? It's ash. That's not the same as bone. So he specifically also, like Shirdi Baba before him, he insisted on being buried in a particular way. He was also buried with a crystal cross on his chest at his own. Noma, Patricia, he said in this spiritual tradition, among his students, we do not cremate. Y'all can do what you want. You become a Sai student, you go through these paces, you train like this, you see the mother like this, you have this relationship with Kaleshwar et al. You won't want to cremate after that. You want people to come and meet your bones. And I can say, actually, with Jonathan, when he died in 2016, we buried him as a Siddha. And I have sent many people to his grave who never knew him in person, but they know Jonathan now. They've gotten massive transmission from him, from his tomb, from his bones. His consciousness is there at one part. So yes, this is what it looks like today if you go in there. Really profound. He's there 1000%. It's what they call a jivan samadhi. The soul is taken off from the body majority, but it's leaving the consciousness there in whatever remains of that body. And it's vibrating and transmitting and emanating. And like Shirdi Baba before him, he made the promise that his bones would speak to people who come in there. And for sure that happens. Yes, I still study with him, Happy. He is more alive to me now than he was when he was in the body. I can say that. Next visit to India. I am hoping to go Mahashivaratri 24. We'll see how coronavirus. Yeah, he had a bed in there. He used to sleep in there too. Yeah. So for a long time, that bed was there, but then this floor was flat, but then now his body is in there too. You can see, and there's the Amrita lingam hanging out in its way. This is another very powerful Shiva lingam that he put there as well. And right next door to his samadhi is the mother. This is our final part here today. Thank you so much for hanging in here with me. I know it's a lot. So he put this temple in the Navaratri, the October before he left his body. In that spring, he had always said to us, guys, in exchange for what I'm giving you, please do me one thing, do me one favor. Erect a 9-foot black statue of Mother, smiling after she's killed the negativity. Like Kali, but smiling. And I was like, oh my God, he's saying to us, we're changing her face. She doesn't have to be furious, angry so much when so many people wake up. She can come in a more gentle form to us. This is after she's destroyed. So finally, he had her sculpted. You can see her tiger is there, but she's not on the tiger. This is after she's destroyed the worst negativity. She's killed all the demons. And she's known as Maheshwari Mardinima or Kanaka Durga. So when they brought her, of course it's raining. It's always raining when the high blessing things happen. Pouring rain with a big tractor. All the students are out. Everybody's having a big thing. Look at her face. Oh my God. I mean, she is so dazzling. Oh my God. So someone asked, what is a living statue? Have a look. She's so powerful. My God. This is, they were singing bhajans, but then as she's coming in, look at their faces. I was like, here she comes. Oh my God. Wow. Breathtaking, huh? Swami Kaleshwar, even with all of his capacity to her, look at him. He's like a child to her. She's basalt, very strong, black, very, I believe it's heavy in iron content, if I'm not mistaken. This is like how she'll look in poster art. You know, this is how the Indian tradition thinks of her, killing the demon Maheshwari, which is how she gets her name. She's very blissful, even while she's cutting the heads off demons. She's our mother. I love her so much. Anyway, here he is inaugurating her. He took sandalwood powder. It is basalt, Rob. He poured sandalwood powder all over her in partly a process of bringing her to life. And then the students collected that sandalwood powder afterwards. And I do actually have some of it. I use it for initiations into her channels for people. And you can see her face in the sandalwood powder. Look at that. I mean, my God, this is the first moment she was actually erect in her building there. Oh my God, Ma. This is his gift to humanity, his final statement to everybody. She's getting a bath. Look at her big smile. Those eyes, she's so alive. Her big feet. You can take screenshots from the recording on YouTube. You can pause it and take screenshot. In South India, this is Penukonda, Asha. Penukonda. It's not very far from Anantapur. This is after a huge lotus petal abhishek. Everybody threw handfuls, armfuls of lotus petals on her to get her energy coming as a big wave and blessing. I think you can probably feel that. That's the pujari making arati to her. So you can see how tall she is, right? Incredible. I mean, that gives you a flavor of what it's like there. This is, I took a tour group there in 2016, and we had a beautiful experience there with her. Ha! Selfie with Ma. Swami Kaleshwar said, in the future, which is now, if you make 3 times production around her and you go into his samadhi room and touch the Shiva lingam there, and then you come and you put your third eye to her feet, pretty good enlightened. Done. He's setting her up for the future, you know, he's setting her up for the world to be able to receive the direct blessing and enlightenment channels from the mother there. This is when they're giving her an abhishek. It's a they're bathing her in kumkum, you know. They have to get on a ladder to do the bath for her. She is so profound. This, I believe, was probably 2019 with our group doing, no, actually 2017, throwing rose petals and lotus flower petals to her. So in 2017, this was really interesting. We did an ashram-wide process where we spent 24 hours in small groups coming in to be with her for 2 hours at a time, pouring water on her feet. First time it ever happened, chanting the water mantra from the 5 element system from Sri Kaleshwar. And yes, I teach the 5 element systems. You guys can learn all that from me if you want. Or anyway, so there we were chanting this water mantra, Om Klum Lum Jam Kanakadurgamba, Om Klum Lum Jam Ham Kanakadurgamba, Durga Devi Prasanam, for 2 hours, washing her feet. This was my group that I had taken on this power journey in 2017, doing that during our 2 hours, interacting with her in the water element, which is the creation element, you know. Everything comes out of the water. A baby spends 9 months in the amniotic sac in the mother in water, right? Life forms emerge from the oceans. Water is the whole thing, right? So we're chanting and chanting around the clock, maintaining perfect silence on the ashram. No one spoke for 24 hours. Groups taking shifts every 2 hours to do this. And I was thinking, look at this lady, looking at mother, looking at her. Oh my God. What an intimacy is there. Who is who? Who's mother? Who's rock? Who's flesh? Who knows? I was thinking, Ma, what are we doing here? We're generating this. We're generating this. What are you doing for the whole planet? I have observed over many years that whatever happens in Penukonda spreads out to the whole world instantly. Any shift that happens there immediately goes to the whole planet. And I was thinking, mother, what? This was October 2017. We came back from that power journey to the US, and within a few weeks, the beginning of the Me Too movement started with the outing of Harvey Weinstein for all the sexual abuse of women. And I thought, my God, Ma, you did this, didn't you? Finally. Finally, it's coming out. Her beautiful feet. Oh my God. She is. Yes, exactly. That's why she's here, Grace. Oh, I mean, wow. Yeah, 2019. Oh my God, that was a time. So for a long time after Swami's samadhi, this door had been a wall. It was a little strange thing that happened on the Vastu there. And it kept all of the Shiva lingams, the powerful energy of the God the Father that's inside there, plus Swami's tomb, separate from her. And the students kept saying to his wife, we need that door open again. We need it the way he set up that building perfectly on the Vastu to be open again. And on this Shivaratri, it happened. The students prevailed after like 7 years. Finally, that door was opened. And I swear to God, when that door opened, it was like an atomic explosion had happened in there. And how she's really coming so strong on the planet now. So this is the thing that I have as my Zoom background here. I like to sit at her feet. She's my mother. She's everybody's mother. This is what she looks like today. She's pretty phenomenal. So this is so beautiful, you know, like everybody can really have these photos of her and grab it off the YouTube video and Adi post it, because you should have her influence on your altars in your home, just to look at on your desktop, whatever, you know, she's radiating quite a lot. Here's Kaleshwar talking. Oh, good, says Grace. I've been taking screenshots. Way to go. My deeper aim is to send everyone to Mother. She will take care of you and give you what you really want. How can we connect powerfully? Oh, let me answer a couple questions that came here. And really, you know, it's a huge honor to share all this. This is such a thumbnail sketch of the whole thing. I mean, as you can see, I can talk for hours, so sorry, but there's so much depth and the knowledge and the systems and the healing modalities and all the technology that he gave, which is what we all teach over at you can see at our website at ucbk.org. We have a lot of pre-recorded videos that people can start to learn the basic systems and start to do these practices. They are cut to the chase with the energy, super powerful. The highest healing techniques on the planet, the most incredible meditation, high consciousness experiences, the mechanics of how to handle the Maya versus how to handle the honest truth of the mother, like all of it. Just he gave like a new kind of scripture to the planet, I have to say. Catherine says, you called your kitty a house panther. Can I talk more about power animals and mother? Well, mother always rides a big cat. The cats are fearless. Big cats, little cats, any kind of cat. All they want is their food. They're single focus, and they have a special relationship with Mother Divine on account of that. When you see the great yogis meditating on a tiger skin or a leopard skin, it's because the energy of Mother is right there with that big cat. And they're drawing that Shakti straight from that skin, actually. So there's a very deep relationship between the big cats and Mother Divine specifically. Swami Kaleshwar also said they will see her. Like if you and I are standing in a room together, if Mother Divine, she could be there. She's always there. We don't see her in form, but the cats do. They have that special channel to be able to see her, especially the tigers. Why is Kali sticking her tongue out? She's drinking the blood of the worst demon who got a boon that if any drop of his blood fell on the ground, 1,000 more of him would spring up. So the way she defeats him is when she wounds him in battle and he starts to bleed, she laps up his blood with her tongue. She's drinking the negativity. Esther, I'm in Brentwood. We're neighbors. So how can we connect to the mother right now? How about a mantra? Maybe we could take a few minutes, like even like 5-10 minutes, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And
whatever you want to do, Alex.
Great. And we can meditate on this. This is one of the mantras from the ancient palm leaf manuscripts leading straight to the mother. Om Dimi Dimi Sri Durga Rakshamam. Om Dimi Dimi. Dimi Dimi is like the sound that her anklets, the little bells make, and her little her bracelets make. Sri Durga. Durga is another fierce, beautiful form of mother. And Rakshamam. Rakshamam is protection. So better that we're taking it internal and meditating inside. Om Dimi Dimi Sri Durga Rakshamam. So maybe you want to set an intention in your heart, like something you would really like to have answered from the mother, or some kind of relief. Maybe you have a health condition or something. Whatever it is between you and her, ask her. And then start to just let this mantra filter in. You can see it on the screen, so you can just be repeating it in your mind. Om Dimi Dimi Sri Durga Rakshamam. If you prefer, you like a small tune to it. Om Dimi Dimi Sri Durga Rakshamam. 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 And like that, you can continue in your mind. I'll transmit a huge amount of energy through the Shakti Veil to everybody. And go ahead and take that mantra inside. Ask her what you really want. And we'll spend a few minutes receiving from her. And then we'll finish up. Om Dhimi Dhimi Sri Durga Rakshamam. 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So you can wind down your meditation a little bit and come back. Come back. For sure, she's hearing everyone, you know. And just have a few closing thoughts. This is from Kaleshwar. In the late years, he would suddenly start speaking these beautiful poems spontaneously, just out of the creation. This is about the Sri Chakra, the womb chakra of Mother, where she creates everything. The Sri Chakra, her womb, is a great Amrita chakra. Come and understand. That womb chakra I am giving is the great blissful chakra. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all beings be happy and blessed, and may the energy we generate here go to the whole world to create peace. Take a moment to thank your physical parents, your mom and dad, for bringing you to this life. We don't have to thank them for what happened after that if it was difficult, but thank them as the representatives of Divine Mother and Father for giving us life, for bringing us to this incarnation so we can experience this together. Thank you. And also unbelievable thanks to Swami Kaleshwar, Raja Di Raja Yogi Raja, to Shirdi Sai Baba, his master, to Jesus Christ and his extraordinary mother, Mary, and also, of course, to the great Divine Mother in her Amrita Chakra, bringing us to this place together. We are really so grateful. Thank you, Ma. And also everybody, thank you for being here. And I'm so happy to share all this with everybody, and also, very happy to just sit around for a minute and take some questions, whatever. People were asking, what does the mantra mean? And so Om Dimi Dimi, it's Om is welcoming, greeting. Thank you for coming so much. Thank you, thank you. Om Dimi Dimi. Dimi Dimi is the sound that mother's like jewelry makes when it shakes. Dimi 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 Dimi. When she's coming near, you hear her anklets jingle, her bracelets, Dimi Dimi, Sri Durga. Oh, holy Durga. Durga is like a fierce, beautiful, blissful form of the mother. Rakshamam, protection. Raksha is protection. So that whole mantra, it's a way to go straight to her heart. It's a way to ask her, especially for the things that we need blessed, for what we need healed, for what we need uplifted, for what we need, whatever our spiritual ambitions might be, for just to meditate with that mantra, to take it internally, especially. I know people like to chant out loud a lot, but really my experience is when it's internal, it's much more powerful. It's more subtle. So if you have a formal meditation practice, you could add that mantra to it, or you could do it all the time as a background thought, or you can do it whenever you think on the mother, or you can do it when you're going to sleep at night, just bring that energy, her presence to you in a particular angle, let's say, Sri Durga Rakshamam. And of course you can do that. So also people are asking websites and this and that. Yes, you can find me at ucbk.org. UCBK stands for the Universal Church of Baba's Kitchen. It's literally a church in America. We've had it since 2007. And if you look under pre-recorded video teachings, you can see the basic things of the Kaleshwar systems are there. Everybody usually starts with decharging and with the 5 elements process. 5 elements is the foundational work of all the Kaleshwar healing systems and the whole thing. It definitely begins a big purification to the soul. It's a rigorous practice, but it's fantastic. Of course, you can contact me through the website. You can find me. Please ask questions. I'm always happy to help. We do a regular Thursday night satsang via Zoom every Thursday where we're going through the Kaleshwar knowledge. We have a lot of resources. There's a private group on Facebook that supports everybody's practices. I do personal healing sessions via Zoom mostly, although I am in LA and I can work with people in person in Los Angeles or California in general. It's way too much even to say it all, but you can find a lot at ucbk.org. Yes, people are posting it in there. Thank you very much. And Anne is asking, is Mother Mary also Divine Mother? Yes, of course. Mother Mary was an extraordinary siddha in her own right. Kaleshwar wrote a book called I'll put it in the chat, The Real Life and Teachings. Real Life and Teachings of Jesus Christ. He released this book in 2010. It is extraordinary. It is challenging. It's very difficult for the normal belief systems about Jesus. But he talked about Mother Mary there. She is And you can get a digital version of it if you're in America, or if you're not in Europe, let's say it that way. There is a you can get a PDF version of it at Sri, I believe it is Sri-Kaleshwar-publishing. I want to say it's .com. I think that's what they're called. They're my German brothers and sisters, and they run the publishing wing of Kaleshwar books and teachings and everything. But if you get the Jesus book there, if you're not in Europe, it's really expensive and it takes forever to, there it is. Somebody put the link to send it. It's quite costly outside of Europe, but you can get it as a PDF, as a downloadable file that you can read on your computer or digital device, and you can search it, which is, I find, very helpful indeed. The practices on my website will be under online classes, I believe. In fact, you know what? I could show you the website real quick. I can just do a little tour of it because, why not? We're here. Right. So this is us. And we have a beautiful Mahashivaratri celebration coming up in San Diego on the 18th, which will be a barn burner. So if you go to this is a UCBK homepage, yes, you will see the fire ceremonies that we do every full and new moon. People can attend via live stream. We live stream on a number of platforms, including YouTube. Los Angeles and San Diego events will be our live events, and online workshops will be everything pre-recorded. These are the basics. Decharging, very important, especially if you're in the healing or a helping profession of any kind. And the 5 elements. Like, this is the basic. These are the beginnings. And then these are all some of the systems of the Kaleshwar teachings, the reality of soulmates, the reality of what happened on the crucifixion, how the angels operate. I mean, it's just ridiculous. These are more intermediate ones, very powerful processes. This is straight to the mother's womb chakra, how to operate with it and for healing. This is about the individual womb chakra, which is our connection to mother. Very also kind of recommended for people. So there's a lot, and you can see there's really a lot. So yes, and you can jump on our mailing list there if you like, because there's all kinds of, I am under events and then online workshops from the homepage. You go to events, you can see up here. There's home, events, healings, reviews, events, online workshops. Yeah. Yes, there's a lot. Someone was asking about Kuan Yin. Yes, she is an emanation of Mother. Magdalene, yes, she is. Yes. Magdalene was a great siddha, but in the Jesus book from Swami Kaleshwar, he mentions that Mother Mary spent millions of lifetimes, human lifetimes, meditating in order to gain that incarnation to be the mother of Jesus. He said she's like equivalent to Kali. She is astounding. Mother Mary is the reason why the wake up is happening for the planet now. It is her will and wish. It is her propelling it. It was her yearning to handle the suffering of humanity that made Mother Divine grant her the boon of giving her the son who would be able to do that. It's such an epic story, and you can read it in the Jesus book from Kaleshwar. It is amazing. He said at the time that Jesus's drama in the Middle East was going on 2,000 years ago, it was the biggest spiritual story on the planet, a blockbuster. Everybody knew it was happening. Everybody knew. There are many surprising things in that book. It is, how surprising? We spent an entire year, I'm not kidding you, going through the entire book word for word and talking about it in our satsangs. It was 51 or 52 weeks worth of satsangs. And we discuss everything, because some of it is kind of hard to figure out if you don't know Kaleshwar and the systems and the tradition. And it's overwhelming, that book. And the Shakti that's packed into it is gobsmacking. It's so epic. I can't even. But he did talk very openly about both Mary Magdalene and about Mother Mary as well. And someone else is Kuan Yin. Yes, absolutely. You know, that comment that Mother is mother to every soul in the universe, and that she doesn't belong to any religion, any feminine force that we see in any spiritual path, whether it's Isis or Hecate or Freya or Lakshmi or whatever, Avalokiteshvara, also Guanyin, the different taras, they're all emanations of Mother Divine. If it's in form and it's female, it's Mother. It's just the names don't even matter. So I hope that helped a lot. Let's see. When you sign up for paid courses, do you have them for life? Yes, if they're pre-recorded, yeah. I put them on Dropbox and you can download them to your own digital device, and then you have them forever. Yes, you can keep referring back to them, which is really helpful. And my general mode of working with people through the pre-recorded videos is if you hit a snag and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, drop me an email. I'll explain. Not a big deal. Or come on our satsangs and ask questions, and we'll talk about that. And let's see what else. Yes. Let me see. Yes, Mary Magdalene was in fact Jesus's wife. That's abundantly clear. Kaleshwar was very clear on that point. Truthfully, he had Kaleshwar had a palm leaf manuscript that Jesus himself wrote 2,000 years ago. He had it, how do you say, carbon dated by the Indian government. They verified it's 2,000 years old. And he talked quite openly about everything, including his marriage to Mary Magdalene, which I think everybody kind of knew that anyway, but it's nice that it was confirmed from 2,000 years back. Yes. I touched that book one night. We got the opportunity to touch it. Literally, I touched the book like this, and it was like an electric shock. And I was awake the whole night shaking. There's so much power in that book when Jesus himself wrote everything that he did, all his techniques, everything. And it's way wilder than the conventional understanding of him would suggest. Yes. So, yes. And then someone was asking about the year-long mastery course, which I also offer. I'm in the middle of training right now 6 people in an intensive year where they basically get me to themselves for a year. We meet twice a week and we go very deeply into all of the different systems, meditations, healing techniques, the gamut. My goal is to prepare top healers so that they can also take their part in this, what Swami would call the Jesus generations, creating a whole generations for now and in the future of healers who can handle the planet to the level that Jesus did. So it's a big deal. Jesus did, in fact, have children, many of them, and not all with the same woman, according to Swami Kaleshwar. He was apparently a bit of a romance character. Truth be told. Yes, so thank you all so much. And find me. I'm online. I'm on Facebook. I'm as easy as it gets. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me via email from the UCBK site. I do have some things up on YouTube that are very helpful. We will be celebrating Taipusam, the day when Mother gives the Shakti Veil to Muruga. Is coming the full moon on February 5th. And then Shiva Ratri, one of the biggest times of the year, February 18th. Mahashivaratri is the day when the veils drop because Mother merges with her mate Shiva. It's the one day of the year he's out of his meditation and he's paying attention to his wife. Mother's so happy to see Shiva that she forgets to manage the Maya in the same way that she ordinarily does. So there's a lot of great blessing and healing and power that comes through Mahashivaratri. And we'll be celebrating that as well. It's kind of amazing. And yeah, the 5th, actually, there's a fire ceremony, a fire homa on the 5th of February. And everybody's welcome. Yeah, of course. We live stream. You can totally join. And I wanted to say, what was it? There was something about, oh yeah, someone was asking about the satsangs. Yeah, we do Thursday night satsangs. Right now, we're in the middle of a very intense body of knowledge called Paramashiva Yoga. It's like a 5-volume, huge, thick dissertation level of how this creation operates, and with respect to the layers of the creation, and also with respect to the mother. So we're right in the throes of it. We have all the episodes that have happened. I think we're at like episode 21 now. We're going to be doing that for over a year. It's huge, huge. A lot of very experienced people come on those calls, so our discussions are really quite thorough. If you're interested in the highest divine knowledge available on this planet, what Kaleshwar would call a PhD in spirituality, you're more than welcome to join us. It might be a little like, whoa, deep into the pool, but certainly, you'll for sure there's a lot of transmission flowing there. Maybe you're not a knowledge person, or maybe you're not interested in doing healing, so it's a different layer, but it's good information, and it's really kind of the centerpiece, I think, of all the Kaleshwar energy systems, of which there are many. Is this thing called Paramashiva Yoga. So yes, I'd love to hear from you all. I'd love to see you all, of course. And you go on the UCBK website, Isabel, to get on the satsangs. And there is, wait, let me see, what is it? Under events, you'll see Satsang Thursday. And there's a link and a registration and all like that. Yes, so. Asha, that's a big subject I don't want to say on a YouTube video, but we know where. And it's South India for sure. Yes. So God bless you. I don't know, Adi, if you want to finish up or say anything. And thank you for
I'm just blown away, so grateful for you, Alex. And I'm just so grateful that, Divine Mother brought us together so many years ago. And I just honor you for carrying this highest divine knowledge and embodying it so powerfully, sharing it. And I always sign up for everything that you do. I just love being with you, listening. So I know that we all will. I will send an email as well to everyone in a few days with the recording and all your information. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for having a heart for the mother. It's such an honor to represent this, as her messenger. I often joke, like, I'm just a receptionist, I'm like what people see when they come to the office of the big bosses, and they're the ones who know how the show is run. They know what they're really doing with everybody, all the different gurus, and the profundity of the big divine family that we have that's unseen. I'm happy to be a receptionist, but really it's their energy, their knowledge, their blessing, their capacity, their healing, and their connection to the mother. That is just, however it's coming through, I'm so grateful. So, but I really feel you all so much. And I just, it's inspiring to be with a group of people who care, like as much as I do about all of this. And someone asked, is there hope for America? Yes, there is. America's in the throes of a very big purification right now. I think everybody can see that, whether you live here or not. And it is purifying out a lot of the ugly, hateful, difficult, demonic negativity of the whole planet. And that's part of our role. I can tell you, Swami Kaleshwar said this knowledge that he's giving back to humanity in a few generations will stop religious wars completely. And that the masters from the West will be received in the East as the ones carrying the true knowledge. I would say that's quite a lot of hope, actually. So.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for being such an amazing divine receptionist. Thank you, Alex. We love you.
Right back at you, madam.
So much love to everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. What a special transmission. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Swami, really. And yes, see you all very soon.